Let me tell you something that most people will never accept. You don't need motivation to win. You need discipline. That cold, brutal, unforgiving machine inside you that doesn't give a damn whether you feel tired, sad, unmotivated, or uninspired. People talk about motivation like it's this magic fuel that'll carry them to success. Let me break it to you. Motivation is weak. It fades. It disappears the second life punches you in the mouth. And life will punch you in the mouth. Discipline, that's different. Discipline is when your alarm hits 5 a.m. and your body begs to stay in bed, but you still rise. Discipline is when you hit the gym, work your business, grind your mind every single day, without anyone clapping for you, without anyone watching. Most people wait to feel ready. They want to be inspired before they take action. That's why they're broke, lost, and distracted, because they live based on feelings. The wealthy, the powerful, the elite, they operate on systems. Discipline creates systems. Systems create wealth. Motivation might help you start, but it's discipline that keeps you in the game when your emotions collapse. It's the reason why one man builds an empire and another scrolls through his phone dreaming. You want to be rich. You want to dominate. Then stop chasing motivation like a drug. Build discipline like a fortress. Show up especially when you don't feel like it. Do the work. Stick to the process. Shut down the excuses. Because the man who is disciplined will run circles around the man who is just motivated. Every damn time. Motivation feels good. It's a surge of energy, a fire in your chest that makes you want to conquer the world. For about an hour, maybe a day, a week if you're lucky. But that's all it is, a temporary high. Motivation is emotional, and emotions are fleeting. They rise and fall with your mood. Your circumstances, your sleep, the weather, your bank account, your relationships, even a random comment on social media. You feel pumped one moment and empty the next. That's why people who rely solely on motivation never last. They're the ones who show up hard on day one, post about their new goals, maybe even crush the first few days. But fast forward a few weeks and they're gone. Ghosted. Back to old habits, old patterns, old excuses. Because motivation ran out and they had nothing underneath to carry them through. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't care how you feel. It's built on choice, not emotion. It's cold, calculated, and consistent. Discipline doesn't need a hype video or a song to get started. It shows up when it's raining, when it's boring, when you're tired, when no one's watching, and when everything in your life is screaming, quit. Discipline is your internal contract, a non-negotiable agreement you've made with yourself that you will do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel in the moment. That's real power. Look at the most successful people in the world. They're not the most motivated, they're the most disciplined. They don't skip the gym because they had a bad day. They don't cancel meetings because they're not feeling it. They don't give in to laziness because it's a weekend. They operate on a code, a personal system. Discipline is what builds that code. It's not sexy, it's not exciting, it's not fun, but it works. You want to know why discipline is permanent? Because once you build it, it becomes part of who you are. It becomes your identity. You don't have to think about it anymore. It becomes automatic. And when discipline becomes automatic, that's when results start compounding. That's when your body changes, your money stacks, your mindset sharpens, and your life transforms. Motivation gives you a spark. Discipline builds the damn fire and keeps it burning every day. People ask, how do I stay motivated? You don't. You learn to act without it. You learn to grind without inspiration. You learn to execute without energy. You stop needing to feel good, and you start doing what's required. Day in, day out. That's discipline. That's what separates average from elite. That's the only way to win in a world that's soft, distracted, and constantly chasing quick fixes. So stop waiting for motivation. It's unreliable. It will always let you down. But discipline. Discipline is there when no one else is. It's there when you fail, when you're broke, when you're doubting yourself. And it's the only reason you'll ever climb out of that hole and win. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Choose the one that actually lasts. Success is not some random stroke of luck or a sudden burst of motivation that hits you like lightning. It's built on habits. Habits that become routine, that become part of your daily life. This is the truth most people never fully grasp because they confuse motivation with the drive to achieve their goals. Motivation is emotional. It depends on how you feel that day, how inspired you are, and often how external circumstances shape your mood. But feelings are unreliable. One day you're pumped and ready to conquer the world. The next day you're dragging yourself through the motions, waiting for that spark to light the fire again. The problem is, if your entire success depends on that spark, you're doomed to failure. Routine, on the other hand, doesn't depend on emotions. It's a structure you build into your life. It's the repetition of the right actions, day after day, week after week, month after month, long after motivation fades. When you build a routine, you turn what once felt hard or uncomfortable into something automatic. It becomes muscle memory. The grind, the work, the discipline. They're no longer battles of willpower, but simply what you do. Routines create momentum, and momentum creates results. This is why the most successful people have schedules, systems, and rituals they stick to no matter what. They don't wake up and ask, "Am I motivated today?" They wake up and say, "What's on my list? Let's get it done." You have to understand the difference between action fueled by emotion and action fueled by habit. Motivation can get you out of bed on the good days, but routine gets you out of bed on the worst days. The days when everything inside you wants to quit. Routine removes the question of, do I feel like it? Because the answer doesn't matter anymore. It's simply what you do. And when you do the right things consistently, your life changes, your skills grow, your bank balance grows, your confidence grows. All because you built a system you follow blindly without hesitation or doubt. This is the reality that separates the wealthy from the rest. The wealthy don't rely on a mood to build their empire. They rely on their daily habits and routines that are so ingrained, so consistent, that the results are inevitable. No motivation needed, just discipline executed daily. If you want lasting success, you need to stop chasing motivation and start building a routine that supports your goals no matter what. Because in the end, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And that is built on the foundation of routine, not fleeting feelings. Winning doesn't come to those who wait for the perfect moment or the ideal mood. Winners are defined by their ability to show up consistently and without fail, no matter how they feel inside. It's easy to be enthusiastic and energetic when things are going your way. Anyone can hustle when the spotlight is on, when motivation is high, or when the rewards are immediate and obvious. But true winners, they are the ones who put in the work on the days no one notices, the days no one applauds, the days when their body screams for rest and their mind begs for distraction. Showing up when you don't feel like it is the ultimate test of character. It's where discipline takes over motivation and crushes it. Motivation depends on feeling good, on having energy, on being inspired. But feelings are fragile and can change with every passing second. Discipline means you show up regardless because you have a mission, a purpose, and you've committed to it with your whole being. You don't negotiate with yourself. You don't bargain with excuses. You don't give yourself the option to quit. That commitment to showing up day after day is what separates the elite from the average. It's what turns small efforts into massive results. Every champion you admire, every millionaire you envy, every titan of industry, they're not superheroes with endless motivation. They're humans who decided discipline is their way of life. They understand that progress is made not on the days they feel like it, but on the days they push through the resistance. When you start to show up even when you're tired, when you're discouraged, when the world seems stacked against you, you're training yourself for greatness. You're proving to yourself that you're stronger than your excuses. You're building a habit of resilience that no setback can break. That's how empires are built. That's how legends are made. And the best part, When showing up becomes your default state, when it's embedded in your identity, you'll notice something powerful. Motivation starts showing up on its own because your discipline creates momentum that fuels inspiration. So next time you want to quit because you don't feel like it, remember that winners don't wait for motivation. They get up, they show up, and they dominate every single day. Discipline is the essential link between what you want and what you actually achieve. You might have the grandest goals, the biggest dreams, and the wildest ambitions, but without discipline, those dreams remain nothing more than wishful thinking. Discipline transforms vague intentions into concrete actions. It's the bridge that connects your goals to real-world results. Without it, you're just drifting, hoping for success to stumble upon you instead of forcing your way toward it. Think of your goals like a destination on a map. Motivation is the initial excitement you feel when you see that destination, but discipline is the vehicle that gets you there, no matter how eager you are to arrive. Without a reliable vehicle, one that runs consistently and doesn't break down, you won't reach your destination. Discipline is that vehicle. It keeps you moving forward day after day, mile after mile, regardless of how you feel, regardless of obstacles. When you have discipline, you don't wait for the right conditions. You create the conditions. You don't rely on luck or fleeting inspiration. You rely on your consistent effort, your unbreakable routine, and your willingness to do what others won't. Discipline means you're willing to put in the work when it's inconvenient, when it's uncomfortable, when you'd rather do anything else but the task at hand. It means showing up with purpose, with focus, and with a mindset that refuses to accept excuses. This is what separates those who talk about success from those who actually live it. It's easy to dream about wealth, health, and freedom. It's another thing entirely to live it, day in and day out, grinding, sacrificing, learning, adjusting, and persisting. Discipline makes that possible. It keeps you accountable, forces you to push past your limits, and ensures that your efforts are consistent enough to generate momentum. That momentum builds over time, compounding into the kind of success that looks effortless to outsiders, but is actually the product of relentless discipline. Without discipline, your goals are just fantasies. With discipline, they become inevitable. It's the difference between those who hope and those who achieve. You want to be rich, successful, and respected. Then build your discipline first. Because motivation will come and go, but discipline will carry you through every storm and every victory. Motivation is a fickle force that listens only to your feelings. It comes and goes like a storm, sometimes fierce, sometimes barely a breeze. When you wake up energized, motivated, and ready to attack the day, motivation is your ally. But what happens when you're tired, stressed, or discouraged? That same motivation disappears into thin air, leaving you vulnerable to excuses and distractions. If you rely on motivation to fuel your journey to success, you're building your entire future on a house of cards. Discipline, on the other hand, is deaf to your emotions. It does not care if you're feeling down, tired, or overwhelmed. Discipline commands your actions regardless of your mood. It is the internal boss that demands you show up, put in the work, and do what needs to be done every day, no matter what. When motivation fades, as it always will, discipline remains. It's the difference between those who start strong and quit and those who finish strong and win. Think about this. If you only take action when you're motivated, your results will be inconsistent, unreliable, and slow. You'll have bursts of productivity followed by long stretches of inactivity. But if you commit to discipline, you create a system that forces you to act even when motivation is nowhere to be found. You create habits that don't require thought or emotion. You make progress regardless of your mental state, and that consistency leads to mastery, growth, and ultimately, wealth. The people who succeed long-term understand this truth deeply. They don't wait for the right mood or a good day to chase their dreams. They know motivation is a spark, not the fuel. Discipline is the fuel. It's what keeps the engine running day after day through rain, pain, fatigue, and doubt. It's what turns dreams into reality. Without discipline, motivation is just a tease, a promise that fades too soon. With discipline, motivation becomes irrelevant because you're too committed, too focused, and too relentless to fail. If you want to create real wealth, real success, and real power, you need to understand one fundamental truth: discipline beats motivation every single time. Motivation is unpredictable and unreliable. It's a fleeting emotion that can't be counted on when the stakes are high. Wealth is not built on feelings. It's built on actions repeated day in and day out, no matter how you feel inside. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It's the force that pushes you to wake up early, to stick to your plan, to work when you're tired, to say no to distractions and temptations that pull you off course. Discipline means showing up when you don't want to, grinding when you'd rather quit, and keeping your eyes on the prize, even when the journey gets tough. The rich understand this instinctively. They don't wait to feel motivated. They create systems and routines that make progress inevitable. The difference between a millionaire and someone struggling financially is often one of discipline. The millionaire invests consistently, saves diligently, and works tirelessly, regardless of mood or circumstance. The person who never gets ahead waits for motivation to strike, and when it doesn't, they give up or get distracted. Discipline builds habits that become automatic, habits that shape your daily decisions and ultimately your destiny. It's the muscle you train to withstand setbacks, failures, and distractions. It's what keeps you focused on long-term gains rather than short-term pleasures. If you want to be richer, more successful, and more powerful than most, you have to embrace discipline. You have to commit to doing the hard things every day, even when motivation runs dry. Because motivation is a spark. Discipline is the steady flame that keeps the fire burning. Master discipline, and you master your future.